You know, the question comes up all the time, how much should I give? And as I have thought about this one over time and as I've worked with people, I break giving down into three categories: the should give level, the could give level, and the would give level. And the should give level begins with I should give in proportion to my income. 1 Corinthians 16:1, Paul said, give as God has prospered you regularly on the first day of the week. So I should be able to look at somebody's tax return and look at their giving and understand how God has prospered them. The more you make, the more you should give, and I would suggest that the tithe amount of 10% is just the beginning level of giving on a proportionate basis. As your income goes up, so should that percentage go up. The second level of giving is the could give level, and this is above and beyond what I should give on a regular basis, but I could give. For example, there's a missionary conference or somebody expresses a need at church, and it's not a part of my tithe. It wasn't a part of what I was planning on doing. It wasn't a part of my proportionate giving. But I have a savings account that I can write a check out of my savings account. The only way that Americans typically can experience sacrificial giving, and not in a real sacrificial way, but it is sacrificing something that they could have done in order to do what they could do. Let me give you a personal illustration of that. Judy and I had made a commitment of a significant amount of money to give to a ministry, and we had made that commitment in January, and it was a year later, and we still hadn't fulfilled the commitment. We'd been tithing and giving proportionally throughout the year, but we had not fulfilled that commitment that we had made a year earlier. And Judy said, what are we going to do about that? Well, I went to 2 Corinthians 8 and 9 and began reading the giving chapters. And I came to this passage. It said, Dear Ron, remember what you were going to do a year ago? You need to do it now. And now I'm paraphrasing a bit, but it was almost exactly that except for the Dear Ron part. It says to the Macedonians, remember what you promised a year ago? Do it now out of what you have. Well, when I thought about that, I thought the only thing that I have that would allow me to do that giving right now was the vacation fund. We had, as a family of 5 and different ages, different sexes, and different interests, we had chosen to spend our vacation money to going to a guest ranch in Colorado because everybody could kind of do their thing, but we were still a family. And we had our vacation fund all set aside, airplane tickets bought. We were ready to spend that money on that vacation. That was the only money that I had. So Judy and I agreed. We took the vacation fund. We wrote the check out of the vacation fund out of what we could do because we had the money, and we gave up the vacation. I called the owner of the Dude Ranch, the guest ranch, and I said, not going to be able to come this year. We're sorry, but some other things, some other higher priorities have come up. And he called me back within a day or two, and he said, you know, I've been thinking about your not coming. And he said, I was kind of counting on having you speak to the staff. I'd like for you to speak to our guests. He said, would you accept the plane tickets and a free vacation from us in exchange for speaking to our staff and to our guests? I said, well, let me pray about that. Yes. Because this was a provision. He didn't have to do that. You know, that year, I was asked to speak on a cruise and bring my family, all expenses paid. I was asked to speak at the beach, bring my family, all expenses paid. We got either 4 or 5 vacations that year that were fully paid for when we made that decision. Now, we had to make the decision, and we gave out of the funds the money that we had. And God wasn't obligated to do what he did, but he did it. And it was probably 10 or 12 years after that before we ever paid for another vacation. As I looked on that, it took, first of all, my step of obedience of going to God's Word, listening to what he had to say, and then doing it, and then that was the consequence. That's the could give level. I could give, but I may have to make a sacrifice or what seems to be a sacrifice. The third level of giving is what I call the would give level. And that is saying to God, God, if in fact you give me an increased income, if you give me decreased expenses, I will give out of this. Maybe it's an unexpected bonus, maybe it's an unexpected check of some sort. It's a pre-committed amount of giving. And it is as close as we can come to faith promise giving. It says, God, if you do this, then I will do this. But I think that's the third level of giving. I think that the first level is the should give, the second level is the could give, and those two come before even the faith level or the would give level that comes. I think if you follow those three principles in terms of your giving, you're going to be blessed beyond what you can think, ask, or even imagine, as it says in Ephesians 3:20. Try it.